On this episode of Philippines Extremes, I'm going to talk to you about how you can travel to the Philippines with no vaccination. I am unvaccinated. And at first, that was a concern. I was like, how am I going to go to the Philippines, a place that I love? When the pandemic happened, it completely eroded my ability to come here at all. But I knew that the restrictions would be removed once all the hype of the pandemic kind of died down, and and they opened their borders, and you started to see places, in Asia reopening, and I knew that the Philippines would follow suit. Um, so for the longest time, you could come to the Philippines unvaccinated, but you had to quarantine for 7 days, 10 days, depending on where you were. Depending on what time of the pandemic it was, because it kind of changed a little bit. But so for me, um, I knew that like towards the end of it all, I was really itching to come and get my teeth fixed, and had some pain going on, and I was getting anxious, and I wanted to come here, but I also didn't want to adhere to the quarantines if I didn't have to. So um, I started seeing places removing the quarantine restrictions, removing the vaccine restrictions entirely, and I knew that the Philippines would follow suit. And so what I did was I bought my ticket, but I forecasted it out a little bit, assuming by then, you know, even the quarantine would go away. So I bought my ticket in September for January, and I did that for two reasons. One, to save more money, and two, um, because I assumed that the quarantine would go away. And fortunately, I think it was in mid to end October, Philippines removed the quarantine entirely. So I was right on that, and thankfully, I didn't have to adhere to any quarantine procedures. And so, but what I did have to do, which they still have in place, is you have to get tested before you leave 24 hours in advance. So, oh, and you also have to fill out a pre-boarding questionnaire that kind of lets the Philippines know whether you're vaccinated or unvaccinated upon arrival. And you either print that out once you fill it out online, or you take a screenshot of it. So I filled it out online, told them I was unvaccinated. You give your name and your passport number, and all your personal info and your plane information, when you're going to arrive, et cetera, et cetera. And so you have that, and you have your um, negative test with you. So I had those things. I went and I got the test, which was kind of a hassle because my plane didn't fly out till midnight. And then once the gate opened, I came to present my boarding pass, and they asked me if I was vaccinated. I said no. I got a little bit concerned because they paused, and the girl wasn't very knowledgeable about it. But as she was kind of clicking around on her computer looking for the rules, I was telling her I did the process. I went to your website, and I filled out everything that I needed to fill out, and I took the test, and here's my negative test. So she confirmed that I could board, and once I presented all my documents, I was able to proceed to the airplane. So no problems there. Then when I took the long, brutal flight, which everybody knows is super long, and I don't sleep on planes, so I arrived in the Philippines, with 2.5 days of travel funk on me, and I was pretty beat, but it was sure refreshing to arrive in the Mactan airport there, and feel the air and smell the breeze, and it was like being home. Like the United States is where I was born, but the Philippines is like my home. It's it's dear to my heart. The people, the environment, the atmosphere, and I'm not talking just the atmosphere. I'm talking the atmosphere of how the people are and the culture and those types of things. So, anyways, I got off the airplane. I went through, all the checkpoints and everything. And when I got to the immigration window, he asked me to see my screenshot of whether I was vaccinated or unvaccinated. And I showed him my screenshot saying that I was unvaccinated. And he asked me for my test, and I showed it to him. And he said, no problem. And I proceeded on my way. And I walked out and I um, exchanged a little bit of money and walked out and saw my lovely wife waiting for me. And it was absolutely amazing. So, no quarantine. You don't need any quarantine anymore. That's completely gone. You just need your negative antigen tests and 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 the pre boarding requirements, which is filling out the pre information online. So that's it. So no need to sit on your hands anymore because the pandemic is over with, and now you can fly freely the way that um, it should be. So come to the Philippines. Don't let the vaccine or COVID restrictions, all that COVID nonsense, stop you because it's over with. And the atmosphere here with the COVID, it's like I don't ever really think about it. You see some people with masks, but it's not as prevalent as it is in the States. People aren't social distancing or like afraid. There's no Karens like bringing it up still or anything. It's pretty much over with, and life has gotten back to normal here. So really refreshing. And I know in the States, when all that happened, me being kind of more conservative and kind of identifying more with what they call anti-vaxxer, um, I was really, really not enjoying my time. So it made the victory of arriving here um, all that more sweet because here it's just like being free. So come on to the Philippines. Don't let anything stop you because